And welcome into another exciting edition of Locked On 76ers. Keith Pompey, Marc Farzetta on one of the busiest days in Philadelphia sports history with the Phillies in the playoffs, the Eagles playing Giants Thursday Night Football, and Quentin Grimes had his first practice yesterday. Oh, yeah, and the Flyers start their season tonight as well, but you'll start your day knowing that Quentin Grimes was getting the work in for the first time with the this version of the Philadelphia 76ers. All that and more on this edition of Locked On 76ers.
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And we do thank you for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Keith Pompey, Marc Farzetta. Keith, yesterday you were at Camden at the Sixers practice facility. You were putting out videos, and it did do it for me. It absolutely did it for me. Just thinking of Quentin Grimes being in the starting lineup. We'll get to the idea of a 3-guard lineup, potentially even 4, mixing and mashing in there as well. But all good things I heard and saw from your videos on your social media when it came to Quentin Grimes getting his first run. What were your major takeaways with his first day back?
You know, the takeaway was he seemed elated to be back there. You know, I mean, the one biggest thing is now, you know, again, I'm pretty sure he wanted to get paid. He wanted to get the $100 and all that other, $100 million, whatever.
Yeah, right.
But to me, the big thing was when you walked in there, you know, when you see him work out, you see the shot. The shot is still there, right? The shot looked good. He made 22 out of 26 threes. But the biggest takeaway was he just seemed like he enjoyed being around the coaches. He enjoyed being around his teammates. You know, we walk in the gym, the first thing you see him on a chair chatting it up with Hunter Silas, you know, having a great conversation. Then he goes over there and he's, you know, messing with the laughing and joking with the coaches. And then he gets the workout in. And it was one of those things where when I got there, I requested him. I was like, hey, look, we got to get Quentin. And the media people were like, okay, we're working on it. He said he may want to wait until tomorrow because he wants to get acclimated with his teammates again, reacclimated. But next thing you know, he comes over and he walks over and he answers tough questions. So again, the one thing he did say that, hey, I'm happy, I'm this and that. He seemed to be in a good mood. Typically when guys say that, you're kind of like looking at them like they're side eye because you're like, dude, you wanted to get paid. They gave you $8 million. You wanted 100, right? So, you know, so you got to think of that like a little bit of not really saying how he really feels. Yeah. But at the same time, he looked like he was happy to be out there with the fellas.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you saw him obviously up close and personal. I just saw the videos you put out of him working out. And I watched his press conference that was about 4 minutes long, whatever it was. But the sense I got was, okay, look, I played the game. Speaking as Quentin Grimes, I played the game. The Sixers played the game. The Sixers won. I took my shot. I had great numbers at the end of the year. If there was going to be a time for me to have any chance of cashing in, this would be the opportunity to do it. I took my shot. It didn't work out. Sixers won. Simple as that. I don't, and you even asked him, and I heard you about, so like no hard feelings or anything. And he was like, I'm cool, basically. And that's a worthwhile question because even if he, like, look, I know a lot of people might hear that, Keith, and think, oh, well, what's he going to say? Well, it's more about how he says what he's going to say. Because he's not going to be like, Daryl Morey's a liar and I'll never play for him. You know, he's not going to do that. He's Quentin Grimes. He's not James Harden. But you can kind of read between the lines. And I got the sense that he knew the deal from jump. I think he knew that without any outside influence, he was coming back on $8.7 million. And that's the number we had talked about all offseason. The number went out there about $25 million. And it's like, hey, sure. Hey, Keith, do you want $25 million? Do you want $25 million?
Yeah, I mean, heck yeah, I want $25 million.
I'd like $25 million too.
Every day, all day. Every day, all day.
But you ain't going to get it. That's the point. That it's just not, maybe you, but not me. It's not happening. And I think Quentin Grimes understood that. So when I watched him yesterday, I went, okay, I believe him. I read between the lines, and what was between the lines was exactly what he was saying. He knew the deal going into it, just like the Sixers did. They both played chicken. Nothing influenced the Sixers number to have to come up. And maybe, just maybe, if everything works out this year, they'll extend him. Maybe he'll want to come back. Maybe this will be the best possible spot for him. And I do think that there is a light at the end of the tunnel for him, not just for a bigger contract, obviously, but for the opportunity to play for a similar contract that he was trying to get this offseason. Because there's no guarantee that the Sixers are going to be 100% healthy and everyone's going to be great. He's still going to get an opportunity to play and get run here and put up numbers here and show that he could also play with a diverse group of talent. So the opportunity still at the end of this year, Keith, is going to be there for him to make money. So the only thing that benefits Quentin Grimes is also, coincidentally, what benefits the Sixers. And that's for Quentin Grimes to play the best version of basketball that he could possibly play.
Yeah. And I think for now it's all about playing percentages. And what I mean by that is shooting percentages like that, because I don't think that he will get the 21.6 points a game or whatever he was averaging, 21.9. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, he could bring that 3-point percentage up. He could bring the steals up. He can do points per 36 minutes up. You know what I mean? Because that's how he's going to show how impactful he is on the floor. And the one thing you did talk about, before we came on the podcast, you talked about he looked bigger. And to me, it's one of those things where, I was looking at him, but I wasn't looking at him, and I haven't seen him in such a long time. So it was one of those things where I wasn't 100% sure how much I could say, how much did he bulk up? But he did talk about putting in a lot of work. Like he says, preparation-wise, working on my body, right? So that was his focus this offseason, to work on his body. And it just seems like, he's from Houston. He loves going to the University of Houston and working out with former coach Kelvin Sampson. And, he was talking about him in pretty good shape, working with those guys, competing down there, live action. Now, he wasn't doing a 5-on-5 scrimmaging, but it tells me that condition-wise, he's probably working out with, player development coach, working out with the strength coach and everything. So you are right. He is amped up and ready to go for this season.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Just a couple of the notes that I took. We're going to get to one of these from Nick Nurse's press conference yesterday. But, yeah, Nick Nurse was like, speaking on Quentin Grimes, Nick Nurse said Quentin Grimes looks energetic. He looks like he's been working out. He's looked good. He not great yet, not great, but he looks good. So he made a little differential there. And then he said, when he said working out, what I got out of it was that he was hitting the weights. Like we talked about VJ Edgecombe going from Summer League to Abu Dhabi or Summer League to Media Day and being like, damn, son, you got them arms out there, man. Which way's the beach? You know what I mean? He looked like he put on some weight and in a good way, muscle. From what I gathered from Nick Nurse, and again, you saw him up close. Like you said, you didn't get to see him a lot last year, but now it seemed like Quentin Grimes had hit the weight room just like just like VJ Edgecombe in terms of putting on a little bit more muscle. And that can only help him, obviously, because this is going to be, I think, for Quentin Grimes, a very long, for him individually, I believe a very productive. I agree. You're not talking about a 21 point per game type guy. You're talking about a guy to hopefully shoot 41% again from beyond the arc. And that would help things tremendously, both individually for his own selfish reasons. And I give him all the power in the world for that. And also what the Sixers could use him to do. He's going to play in a lot of games this year. And to have that strength build up, just like a younger player, a rookie for like VJ, for instance, that's only going to help you carry yourself through the season. So it seems like all is positive and all is well, both with Quentin Grimes, the businessman, and Quentin Grimes, the 76er.
Yeah, you're right. It all is well. All could work out. The one thing that really stood out to me, though, again, was his shot-making ability. And again, I know it was a drill, and you see a lot of guys like the NBA players should be able to be elite three-point shooters while they're in the gym by themselves. There's nobody doing it. Like, VJ Edgecombe talked about that, how guys, Tyrese Maxey will go down there and just kill it. But the way that Quentin Grimes looked yesterday, it was better than what I've seen other his teammates do thus far. He was just fluid, and you look at that and you talk about how his ability, like if he's in the starting lineup, his ability to stretch the floor for Joel Embiid, Paul George, Tyrese Maxey. If he's out of the lineup, he comes in and you know what, just gives you a bucket, becomes a scorer, and things like that. And also he could be a backup point guard. So what I saw yesterday, that was the best display of 3-point shooting that I've seen since I saw someone do that drill. Now, again, I haven't seen Eric Gordon do it. When we get in there, Eric Gordon is basically out of there, or he's doing some other things. But from all the players that I've seen, he was the best.
Great. I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it. Now, any other observations? Embiid, anything you can tell us? Anything else other than Quentin Grimes at practice yesterday?
Well, the thing about Embiid, when we got in there, Embiid was gone. So was Paul George. I'm talking about they probably were in the building. They were in the building somewhere, but they weren't like on the court. Embiid practice, he did some 5-on-5 scrimmaging, but he's not quite ready to play. He has to check some boxes, so to speak. Now, Paul George, he has yet to do 5-on-5 scrimmaging. He's still doing individual workouts. When we did get in there, though, we did see Trendon Watford working out, being put through individual drills with the coaches. At first, when we got there, he was shooting threes. Then all of a sudden, they were working on post moves, him going to the basket, stuff like that. So he's not ready to play. He's scratched from the game. But the way that they were talking, he might be a little bit more advanced than them. Now, again, they said they're not going to rush him back. We talked about that. They're not going to rush him back. But, I feel like they said Embiid needs to check some boxes. And Paul, he's just doing individual workouts. So, it looks like the three of them probably won't play. Most likely are not going to play in this preseason. I'm not expecting them to play this preseason game. None of them.
Paul George, Joel Embiid, and who else?
Trendon Watford.
Okay, just making sure. All right, when we come back, and I don't know if you thought about our show yesterday, but I'm just going to say this. Nick Nurse listens to Locked On 76ers. It's obvious. Listening to him yesterday, he clearly listens to this program because I think we aided in an idea that he had with the guards that he's got. We'll talk about that more when we return. This is Locked On 76ers and the Locked On Sixers YouTube channel. Back right after this. And now let me tell you about Quo. That's right. One of the tools that help make a huge difference in business for business owners is Quo. Q-U-O. Quo. Formerly Open Phone. It's the same great business phone system you've heard us talk about before, but just with the new name. Here's why it matters. Every missed call is money left on the table. For every customer conversation, it counts. You need a phone system that keeps you connected 24/7. Quo is the #1 business phone system that streamlines customer communications. It works right through an app on your phone or computer, so no more carrying two phones or relying on a landline. Quo is what you need. I love how Quo, formerly known as Open Phone, lets your team share one number and collaborate on calls and texts like a shared inbox, so no customer gets left hanging. Their built-in AI agent is a game changer as well. It can answer after-hours calls, capture leads, and keep business moving even when you're off the clock. See why over 90,000 businesses trust Quo, formerly Open Phone. Get started for free and get 20% off. That's right. Get started for free and get 20% off your first 6 months at quo.com. That's QUO.com/LockedOnNBA. So that's right. Use promo code LockedOnNBA. If you got existing numbers with another service, Quo will port them over at no extra charge. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers. I heard him say it yesterday, Keith. 3-guard lineup. And my eyebrows raised. I went, that's what Keith and I were just talking a lot about yesterday. 76ers running with all these guards. Maxey, Grimes, Edgecombe, Jared McCain when he's healthy. What ran, no pun intended, but what ran through your mind when Nick Nurse was talking about potentially running a 3-guard lineup?
I mean, actually, to be honest with you, I asked him the question. Like basically what he's talking about, the thing that basically raised my eyebrows, if we want to just go a little bit back a little bit, just to put it in context why I asked the question, is because he keeps talking about VJ Edgecombe and Tyrese Maxey parent, right? So he's getting, and what he said was, he kept saying, yeah, I like them together. They're going to be together. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. So it gives you the impression that VJ Edgecombe is staying in the starting lineup. And then he came back and said, and then, I'm paraphrasing, but, we'll sprinkle in a little bit of Quentin Grimes and Kelly Oubre. So my question to him was, you keep talking about these two guys, VJ and Maxey, and then you brought up Quentin. Are you considering, is that going to be an option of starting a 3-guard lineup as an option? And he said, yeah. He said it really is. He says, yeah. And then he also came back and said, and he says, with Quentin, and then also, he brought up he brought up Jared McCain. Like if Jared was here, he would also be in that mix, right? Mm-hmm. So I mean, they're looking at it right now as, especially I guess with Joel and PG being injured, they're looking at it as, we got to get the best players out here. And even still, like when you look at it, like let's say if they do start the 3 guards, and then maybe you have PG at the power forward, and you have Joel Embiid at the center. I think when you look at it in this offense, Quentin will probably be looked upon as a wing, right? You know what I mean? He will be looked upon as a wing, and so you say to yourself, can he defend? Yes, he can defend. Can he stretch the floor? Are we going to need him out there just because right now that may not be a strength of VJ Edgecombe? VJ can cut to the, can crash the boards and can go to the rim, dunk on people. So, you know what I mean? I think that they're looking at all these different options and what they're trying to do. But to me, I do think the more that they were talking, that we will probably see a 3-guard offense, in this lineup. I think that's what we're going to see.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So does this mean Kelly Oubre is looked at as a forward and only a forward, or a wing even, or is this looked at as Oubre is strictly going to be looked at as a, because of his height, obviously 6'7", 6'8", going to be looked at more as a 4 than he is anything one and 2.
I look at it. I think when you look at Kelly Oubre, he's a swingman. They look at him as a 2-3, like a wing, a wing type of guy. But I think when they're talking about, when you come out and say the 3-guard thing, you're talking about, is it going to be Oubre? Is it not Oubre? Excuse me. Is it going to be Edgecombe? Is it going to be Maxey? Is it going to be Grimes? Is it going to be McCain? That's what they're talking about. Now, if you go, let's say we're going to go 4 guards, then maybe Oubre. But if you really want to be real, even down to Paul George, like he's a 2-3. But he could play other positions. Yeah. But Kelly are like the same. They're wings. You know what I mean?
Right,
like when he was playing with the Clippers, he was playing a 2. Kawhi was playing a 3. So they have a small lineup. But when we talk specifically about these 3 guys, that's what it is. Yeah, they're looking. When we talk about the fours on this team, to me, they got 3 of them. They have Trendon Watford, you have Jabari Walker, and you have Dom Barlow. Those are the 4s. These are the 4s that they have. The rest of these guys are 2s and 3s.
Where would you put Broom?
A 4. I think he's a 4 or 5. 4 or 5. I think he's a 4 or 5. He's 6'10", or maybe he could play 5, but I look at him more as he could probably be a stretch big, so to speak.
I agree with that.
Grab rebounds, do certain things. And, I look at him and I see what was he doing in Summer League? In Summer League, he was playing a 4, stretching the floor, trying to get everything done. That's where I see him as.
Mm. No, I'd love to see the Sixers be as up tempo as possible. And the way I was thinking about it after our show yesterday, and then when I heard Nick Nurse talk about it, I was kind of dividing. And I know the Sixers can't do this; they got to find a way that they play and play well and stick to that. But it's going to be so different based on the availability. And I know we've talked about this ad nauseum, but it's kind of like for me when it's Maxey and even a little bit of Paul George, and you're running 3 guards. I think this team's going to be so much more about development than accomplishment. And then if you get Joel Embiid healthy and he's able to give you a good run and a good stretch throughout the season and plays to a caliber we've seen him play in the past and stay healthy, then you're talking about not development. You're talking about really competing to not just make it out of the second round, but make it out of the Eastern Conference in this wide open East that we've talked about. That, wide open might be an over dramatic term for it, but it's certainly more open than it would be if,
if Boston was healthy,
Jason Tatum was healthy, Halliburton and all that. Yeah. So the opportunity's there. So I think it goes from a developmental type year, if Maxey's your number 1 guy, to a true competing for a championship type year if Joel Embiid's healthy. That's the way I kind of have to differentiate it. So if you're going with 3 guards, I think that'll be exciting for the future. And if you're going with more of what you have seen from Joel Embiid with slightly more of an up-tempo, grab and go type situation, then I think you're going to be talking about developing for the future.
I'm with you. I agree. I agree with you 100%.
My man. I do want to get this where where did I stay? Oh, here we go. I love this. Jay Wright in the chat, just the initial J, last name Wright, not Villanova fame. Check some boxes is the new quote unquote ramp up. We all got sick of ramp up last year with Joel Embiid. This is the new ramp up. I think that is appropriate. I do like that.
And that's actually a blast from the past. They've gone, because remember, that used to be with Brett Brown used to say, we got to check some boxes or check some boxes. We're like, okay, bro.
Checking boxes and landing planes. That was another one, right?
Yeah, landing.
You got to land the plane.
Landing the plane.
There's one more. Oh, A just wants to say go Phils. There we go. Papa Grass. There you go. Are we talking about practice? Because game time, they're not ready. Well, hard to argue with that, but hopefully they will be this time around. I do agree with this. Love Christ is saying Sixers are blessed to have Grimes for that price. He was sabotaged by a group of NBA elite because he was probably not involved in all the nonsense. Grimes is also the best defender. Oh, yeah, I like his defensive game, and I love his three-point shooting ability. This is one thing I wanted to ask you. Do you think Grimes runs more of a point than Maxey, or do you think Maxey is the
I think Maxey's the point guard. Yep. Yeah, Maxey's the point guard. Like Maxey's the best player on the team. He'll have the ball in his hands. I mean, I think they'll switch it all up at times.
Yeah,
I think we could see Grimes as like the backup guy. You know what I mean? And that's what they talk about. But I think it will be more so Maxey. And here's the thing, like people go back and forth. The traditional point guard isn't really there anymore. But everybody says you need one. But when you look at Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, he's not a traditional point guard. You look at Tyrese Halliburton, he's not a traditional point guard. Like, so, I think that we'll see Maxey with the ball in his hands a lot. They'll take him off the ball. But I think that when you're really trying to win, you want Maxey the one with the ball in his hands and trying to do certain things. And again, I get it. Some people say they need like a real one, but the only real point guard they have on the team is Kyle Lowry, and he ain't playing a lot.
Right. I'm with you.
Yeah.
All right. I know you got a heart out, so I want to get this last segment in. Our predictions for tomorrow night when it comes to the starting 5. We'll talk about that when we return. This is Locked On 76ers. And right now, let me tell you about PrizePicks and how fantastic PrizePicks is. Oh, you can have such a good time with PrizePicks. This episode, as a matter of fact, is brought to you by PrizePicks. Every time we make decisions, we got to do that every day. Why not make a little bit of scratch on it? You know what I'm saying? PrizePicks. Being right can actually get you paid. Don't miss the excitement of this football season with PrizePicks. where it's good to be right. Playing with PrizePicks is so much fun. It's a simple way to add more excitement to football. You can just pick more or less on player stat projections like Josh Allen passing yards, Saquon Barkley rushing yards against the Giants, for instance. And just like that, you're in the game. I love how quick it is, how easy it is, how fast you can set your lineup. My favorite part, PrizePicks just added stacks. So if I want to ride with a player, I can select their pass yards, rush yards, and touchdowns all in one lineup. Stacks on PrizePicks. Download the PrizePicks app today and use promo code LOCKEDONNBA. That's promo code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's promo code LOCKEDONNBA for $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. Keith Pompey, starting five. Who do you think starts for the Sixers tomorrow against the Orlando Magic in preseason game number 3? First preseason game on American soil.
You know what? That's a great question. If they go a three-guard lineup, I'm looking at Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, Quentin Grimes,
all right,
Dom Barlow, Adem Bona. But I could also see them swapping out Grimes and putting Kelly Oubre in there. Right?
Ooh.
Yeah, if not, it could be the same lineup. But if they just want to tinker with something and see what they got, I want it could be Quentin Grimes.
I literally the same exact thing. I have the same exact thing. So look at us. Look at us. Hopefully we get to see that all play out tomorrow in their third of 4 preseason games. So I look forward to seeing all that play out. To everyone in the chat, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting. Everybody else, make sure you like and subscribe to Locked On 76ers. Phillies fans, I will not be with you tonight for Locked On Phillies postcast. I have Eagles responsibilities I have to tend to. However, I got you set up. Connor Thomas of Locked On Phillies Daily Podcast will be hosting the postcast tonight in my stead, and I will try to jump on either way just to give a quick take or two on the Phillies game against the Dodgers. NLDS Game 4 as the Phillies try to even things up at 2 games apiece in the 5-game series and send things back to South Philadelphia. He's Keith Pompey. I'm Marc Farzetta. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. And also make sure you guys, after this, make sure you guys check out Locked On Fantasy Basketball with Josh Lloyd. Find Locked On Fantasy Basketball on YouTube, wherever you listen to your podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Marc Farzetta, Keith Pompey. Catch you guys tomorrow.